Selling Goods and Services to the Province of Prince Edward Island, an introduction to procurement for vendors. Each year, the government of Prince Edward Island purchases over $100 million of goods and services from the private sector in accordance with the Procurement of Goods Act and regulations and the Interprovincial Trade Agreement. The province operates on the premise that open competition will establish a fair market price and, whenever possible, seeks maximum competition through the tendering process. A provincial tender may include PEI municipalities, academic institutions, school boards, and health PEI. All the goods and services a provincial entity needs are purchased according to the following principles. Local and regional suppliers have equal access to opportunities. Fair and open competition among suppliers is maintained. Supplies are obtained at the best quality, service, and price possible. Government departments and agencies directly administer their acquisition of most services and contracts for construction projects. Who is able to supply goods and services to the province of Prince Edward Island? Any individual, company, or organization with the ability to supply the required goods or services has the opportunity to compete for government business through the public tendering process. Responsibilities of suppliers. Purchase orders, or POs. All goods acquired by the province require a purchase order generated from a requisition originating in a government department or agency. Suppliers are not permitted to deliver items prior to receiving an official purchase order or purchase order number generated by procurement services. In order to control the purchase of tendered items from a standing offer, numerous purchase orders may be issued for each requirement. Standing offer contracts are generally at a set pricing arrangement for specific periods of time. In certain emergency or urgent situations, a purchase order may be assigned by telephone or fax, which will be followed by the official purchase order stating confirmation only. A purchase order should not be changed without prior approval from procurement services. Quality of goods supplied. Unless otherwise specified, all goods must be supplied new and all electrical equipment must be CSA approved. Goods must be supplied as ordered and in accordance with the terms and specifications shown on or accompanying a purchase order. A tender request may identify a brand name, make, and model to describe the character, quality, or dimensions of a required item or component. This is not intended to be restrictive unless otherwise specified as no substitute. When replying with a substitution for supplies other than those specified, the alternative must be clearly indicated and must be of equal or better quality than that originally tendered. Suppliers must be prepared to provide samples, data, and literature to verify that items to be supplied are equal to items specified. Delivery and receipt of goods. In general, the invitation to tender will specify the date goods are required. The supplier must indicate the number of days after a receipt of a purchase order that the goods will be delivered. All tenders are to be FOB destination and freight prepaid unless specified otherwise. Shipping charges, if any, must be shown on the tender form. Goods are to be shipped by the most economical means available to meet the specified delivery date unless otherwise instructed. It is your responsibility as the supplier to be familiar with local delivery situations and conditions. Goods should be inspected upon delivery. The end user is responsible to ensure that the right product was delivered to the right location at the right time. Standing offer tenders. In general, a tender requires the supply and delivery of specific goods to a specific location at a certain time. However, tenders may be called for contracts or standing offers. Standing offer tenders are issued for items to be purchased over a specified period of time on an as and when required basis and could require delivery to various locations. Standing offer agreements enable departments to order supplies at pre-arranged prices and delivery conditions. Standing offer tender invitations indicate the conditions of purchase, specifications, delivery schedules, closing dates, contact persons, and all other necessary information. Tender pricing. Tenders must quote net unit prices. Do not show HST. Extra charges must be itemized. All tenders must be extended and totaled. Discounts, if any, must be clearly defined. Do not quote on a lump sum basis unless specifically requested. There is no provision in the PEI Procurement of Goods Act and Regulations for a price increase subsequent to a tender closing or a contract award. Therefore, tenders with firm prices may be preferred over those with condition and escalation prices. Price changes. Suppliers must submit written requests with full details for any price change to an awarded tender. Procurement services will determine if the solicitation is valid. Any tender must clearly indicate the number of days that the tender is effective, if accepted. Prices firm for 30 days mean a purchase order issued within 30 days of the tender award date will be for the tendered price. Do all purchases go through the tender process? Provincial government departments are asked to follow a standard method for procurement with dollar limitations in accordance with the Procurement of Goods Act and regulations. For services applicable to both Schedule A and Schedule B entities under $50,000, 3 written quotations are recommended. The contract is issued then by the department. For services over $50,000, a formal request for proposal, or an RFP, is required. The contract is issued by the department, and Treasury Board approval to award the contract is required if the value exceeds $100,000. For construction over $100,000, a formal RFP must be publicly advertised to comply with the Canadian Free Trade Agreement. How do I find out what the PEI government needs? The province advertises and distributes tenders for goods and services online. You can view and download tender information at the PEI Tenders and Procurement website. Should you have any questions, comments, or concerns, you can direct them to our procurement services team at the below found contact information.